Are you ready to get a little more exposure for your business? It is time to talk publicity, and that's what we're talking about on today's episode of Delegate This. I have a special guest with me today, Lynette with Firetalker PR, and she's going to talk to us a little bit more about publicity, what that means for you in your business, and of course, how you can delegate to get the most out of it. Lynette, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, Firetalker PR has been around for 9 years now, very exciting. And we are a full-service public relations firm. And I specialize under that big public relations umbrella in publicity and promotion. And we are all about igniting publicity and to leverage that to grow in the marketplace that you serve and become the go-to in the marketplace. And one of the fastest ways to grow your business is through publicity. And that means getting picked up by different forms of media. And it also means creating your own content and syndicating that. So there's lots of wonderful things in that pie.
And it's interesting because I think almost a lot of times publicity is one of those topics that we don't hear a lot in the online marketing world, so I think a lot of my clientele doesn't really understand the scope of what that could mean. And it's more than just sending out press releases. It's, how do you get published in some of these top performing online, magazines and news sites? And how do you get on a television show or onto the news, and those kind of things. So tell me some more examples so that it kind of can trigger for people, what are some of the typical things that you do to get people more exposure?
One of the typical things that I do is to interview that person and find out where they are, because publicity is not a one-size-fits-all. So I find that when people go out there and they're making the mistake of downloading just a template on how to get publicity and they're following something that's cookie cutter, they can get themselves in trouble because they're not finding what they need to ultimately get on television and get interviewed by the local King 5, on New Day Northwest or on the local news to get picked up for a story. And a part of being ready for that is to prepare with a press room and an online media kit. And that's a big piece that gets missed. And what that means is when you have a press room, it's like this interview we're doing now. I'm building up my own press room actually for Firetalker PR, and this, among other interviews, will be housed in the press room. And what that does, how that helps you get picked up, is that someone that's wanting to interview you for a podcast like this one, or other online radio mechanisms, formats, online and offline blog posts and magazines. People want to know that you know how to speak to your craft, that you are a go-to in the marketplace. So having somewhere where there's meat and potatoes, if you will, if there's a place where they can go to not only see you in action, being interviewed, but also to see clips on where you've been interviewed, picked up in for example, if it's an online publication, let's say it's Technorati, and you're being picked up because of your expertise in high tech and you get quoted. Well, they need to see that you've been quoted. So wherever we get picked up in the media, whatever facet, however that looks, we want it to be housed somewhere. So that's a really good way to get picked up by the media. Another way is to create an online media kit which houses all the information that the media needs to decide whether they want to interview you.
It's really good information, and I think what it all kind of comes down to is helping you to build that instant authority. When people know that you have been published in all of these different locations, whether it's podcasts or videos or online or on TV channels, wherever, whatever the case may be, there's an instant authority that you bring to the table when that happens. When I was doing my productivity coaching business, I had a lot of, you could still go out to my site and I've got that list, that press room list of all of the different places that I've been. And I still get requests now and again because people can find me.
Well, and part of what I also see happening and why it's really important to hire someone that understands the business is people end up going after the wrong reporter, the wrong journalist. So it's really important for people to get picked up to not only have those pieces in place in the press room, but make sure that they're following and engaging with people that you may want to be interviewed by. For example, this program right now. So working with you, Nicole, now, I'm educating your viewers on some things that they may need to know. And of course, this could be an hour-long show in itself, but this kind of gives a taste of what do I need to be doing? How can I find the right reporter to interview me? It means doing your legwork, do the homework online, and find those people and follow them and engage with them. That's another way to get their attention. And you don't have to have a book as an authority if you have a very powerful press room and a really powerful online media kit. It's magical.
Yeah, and you know, I love you saying that you know, it's, I mean, not all forms of media are created equal, and it doesn't matter if you spent an amazing amount of time writing an article or doing an interview and it's not hitting the right audience. For my productivity business, what I found a lot of times was that I had a lot of articles that were geared towards corporate businesses that were coming to me, and that wasn't my audience. That wasn't who I like to work with. And so I took the first couple, and then I realized, wait a minute, this isn't going to do me any good. It's just kind of a waste of my time because it's not who my people are. It's not who I want to attract to my business. And so having somebody that can really guide you through that process makes total sense. You know, and I want to know, and you've kind of pointed out a few different things about, you know, so those are some of the mistakes that people might do if they're trying to do it themselves. Maybe there's one other kind of thing, you know, you also talked a little bit about, you know, downloading that template and maybe just going through the checklist. You're not checking the right boxes, maybe, even though the boxes are all there. Maybe you're not thinking outside the box. One thing I noticed on your website, and maybe you can kind of speak to this, is we don't always know our own story. And if we're trying to do PR ourselves, maybe we're not touching on the right story.
A part of crafting that goes back to researching those writers that you want to attract. So if you're pitching certain media that maybe focus on your area of expertise, but you're not generating stories based on your experiences that they want to pick up on, that can cause you a bit of trouble. So it really boils down to doing your homework. If what you do, there's a flavor of a story that you see being picked up by reporters, focus on that, expand on it. And I also offer a service where you can pick my brain. I do a 30-minute free consult, and I help people kind of wrap their head around what they may want to do if they're not ready to hire. But it can really become a very painful process if you're not educated in what you're doing. So I highly recommend hiring someone like me, for example, to help guide you so that you can work on that story. Because if it's not hitting, we need another story.
Yeah.
So I help dig that out, and I help craft that story, sort of interview it out of people.
Yeah, and so what do we need to know? I mean, you know, certainly it can be very time consuming doing this ourselves, especially if we're going down the wrong path. How do we know who is the right PR company or the right PR agency or individual that we should be working with? What do we need to know when we're hiring?
One of the things I love to focus on and that I often guide people through, there's loads of PR people out there. There's loads of people that do everything that we do, whether it's me, you, whomever, and we all have a unique fingerprint. So I always say, go with a person that's really passionate and that really loves what they do. If you feel that you connect with them, that's a huge piece of the pie. You may connect with a PR person that's extremely expensive, that really knows their stuff, but there's just something about them that doesn't click. You have to follow your gut on it. You really have to do that internal work first and make sure that their level of expertise is what you need and that they're focusing on things that are important to you, that their philosophy is important to you. When you're looking for someone that specializes in public relations, it's not always about the thousands of placements that they've gotten for someone, because each person is different. The PR person's different, the professional like myself, the person like you is very different, that's looking to do something, you know, way outside of their comfort zone. So you have to have that connection and really feel comfortable with that person's expertise and how they treat you.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I had actually hired a PR person, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And this individual took what I wanted to do and she put a whole different spin on it that I wasn't. There was a direction I didn't want to go in. And she focused on more of the local newspapers and things like that when I had a very national level business. So it really is kind of important to make sure that while you are the expert and you can certainly guide certain things, the overall picture should be going in the same direction.
Yes, and that's absolutely right. And it's always really important to put yourself first and make sure that you feel comfortable, because when you're outside your comfort zone and you're paying your hard-earned money and you're starting your business, you're just getting up off the ground, you may not have that book yet, you're working towards it, you're a speaker, or maybe you have your book and you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to position yourself to be the go-to. That messaging needs to be extremely tight, and those stories have to be very flexible, but they're your stories. So as I interview people to find what excites them, if I'm not seeing the lights go on, if I'm not seeing the excitement in their face and how they're feeling, wrong story, wrong story. And it's just got to be a fit. So my advice is just to do things like have a chat with a Firetalker, have a chat with me, learn. Maybe I'm not the right fit, and that's okay. Maybe I can send you to someone that can help you, but learn. And I love helping people, guiding them through this process so that they feel comfortable in making their best selection for their business.
I love that. And that's why I picked you to be on the show because, there's the right person for everybody and we're not always the right person for you. But if somebody wants to learn more, if they want to kind of pick your brain a little bit and get to know you and your process, and maybe you are the right fit for them, how can they reach out and connect with you?
One of the best ways to reach out to me is good old email. And that is Lynette, Lynette, at firetalkerpr.com. And the next way is through my website, through Contact Us. You can just let me know what you'd like to do, and we can take it from there.
That's awesome. Sounds great. And for those of you out there, please take advantage of her offers and reach out and connect with Lynette. And of course, if you need some online business management, if you need to get all of those pieces put together and you need somebody to help you project manage all the details, that's what Virtual A-Team does best. Reach out and connect with us at virtualateam.com. Make it an amazing day.